Okay, Natalie Portman, I'm giving you one chance. Let's talk about Lucy in the Sky.
Genocide. See how it's
Okay, just to clear things up, I was kind of pissed off at Natalie Portman after what she did when Guillermo del Toro won Best Director for The Shape of Water, because she decided, and it was a huge Me Too movement at the time, when she basically shat on him winning the award by saying this is the award for Best Male Director, because I don't know why. Because there were only men nominated. Meanwhile, The Shape of Water stars several women, including Sally Hawkins and Octavia Spencer. So that's why I haven't done any of her movies. I haven't seen any of her movies until now. I missed Annihilation. She had like 2 other movies that I didn't watch because she pissed me off. And Del Toro deserved it. He deserved better than her little hissy fit. Anyway, so Lucy in the Sky is inspired by a true story about Lucy Cola, who goes into space and comes back and has mental problems once she comes back because of the grandeur of seeing space and the sun. And I really didn't care for this movie. This is a really tedious movie. Like, I don't blame it on any of the actors. I blame it mostly on the script. It is really dull for most of the time. And when I will say this, in the second half of the movie, they do have some interesting shots and compositions while she's literally having her mental breakdown. But it was far too little, far too late. I thought Natalie Portman wasn't given enough to do, or there was no explanation of what's going on. And by the end of the movie, I'm not going to lie, she becomes really a despicable character, and I have no sympathy for her or what her plight she's going through. She cheats on her husband. When her husband questions her, she yells at him, and she gets angry for reasons unbeknownst to anyone in this fucking universe. She becomes a stalker. She straight up steals information in the movie, and then she's just a terrible person by the end of the movie, and I'm supposed to be rooting for her. Portman was good in this movie, but there wasn't enough on the script. This is a movie that either it needed to be really strong script-wise, or it really needs to go out of its way as far as the presentation and the shot structures go. Like, the opening scene in space is gorgeous, is phenomenal. When they're entering Earth's atmosphere, it's great, but there's just not enough of it to hold the movie. There are a couple of interesting transitions throughout the movie, especially one when Natalie Portman finds out that her grandmother had a stroke. I love that transition where everything around her was moving like she was moving without moving, and it was turning from night to day, and she was entering the hospital. I thought that was really slick and cool. Then there's this whole subplot with her and her niece that, like, one didn't make a whole lick of sense. There was one sentence to, as they like to say, hang a lampshade on it, which basically means if you see a problem, point it out yourself, and then the audience can't do it for you. But it really didn't make any sense, and like I said, at the end of the day, she was really an unlikable person by the end. Dan Stevens is in this, and he gets Dan Stevens, the main character from David from Legion, really doesn't get much to do in this besides, be the husband. Jon Hamm is in this as the love interest and the flirty person. I thought he was pretty good for the small amount of scenes he has. He is also a very unlikable person if you really think about it. He just literally preys on all these NASA people. Zazie Beetz is in this movie, which I was like, I didn't know she was in this movie. And she got a little bit more to do than she did in Joker, but still not much. She was just there to, like, I don't know, be another woman. I was really disappointed with. This movie's so tedious. I just sat there and going, oh my god, her mental breakdown wasn't enough to carry this movie for the 2 hours. It really wasn't. And then, like I said, on top of it, she wasn't a very interesting person. She's just a person who always did well in everything. She always comes out number one, as she says, in the movie, literally. But the movie doesn't there's nothing to be presented as interesting when you're always number one. There's no conflict. And even the mental breakdowns are like, you're crazy. You need to go to jail. Or you need to be put away. And yeah, and then what should be more of a interesting look at it really is not enough to hold this movie together. I'm going to give this movie, Lucy in the Sky, a 4.5. I thought there were shades of interesting shot compositions. No one was terrible at their acting, but you suffer from a poor script, and a script that makes the character by the end of the movie very unlikable. So that's my review for Lucy in the Sky. Did you see it? Let me know in the comments below. Do you plan on seeing it? I believe it only rolled out in about 27 theaters this past weekend. It's supposed to go a little bit wider, coming soon, but let me know what you think about this. And Natalie Portman, this wasn't enough to save you. Jesse Eisenberg, you're next.